Hello everyone, I'm here today to talk about plans, my plans for 2023, how did I do in this, and my plans for 2024 and what I am looking forward to do in the next year. So last year I divided my goals into like reading goals and YouTube goals, and I'm going to talk about both of them. So the first goal that I had was to read all the books in my ancient TBR, and how I define my ancient TBR are all the books that were there before the start of the year. So, for example, for 2024, I will count all the books that are in my TBR up to the 31st of December 2023 as my ancient TBR. And it is currently the 25th of December, so I still have a week to go, and I have two books left that I haven't finished for my ancient TBR. Civilizations I'm currently reading, I'm about 100 pages in, and then I have The Architect's Apprentice by Elif Shafak, which I haven't started yet. I'm expecting that for sure I'm going to be able to finish this one and at least start this one if I don't finish, which I think it's close enough, because the point of that challenge is that books don't linger in my TBR forever, and even if I don't finish this by the end of the year, if I started it, that means I'm gonna read it soon, so that completes that goal. The next goal that I had was to complete my Read Around the World challenge, which I did. I have posted a wrap up for it, all the videos for each region and all of that, and I'm quite proud of completing this challenge actually, and all the work that I put on it. I don't know if it was enjoyable for you guys, but it was very fulfilling for me, so I'm really happy that I did that. And then the last actual reading goal that I had was to not get swept in the hype of the prices and all of that. And I think actually I did better at this as the year went on. So I was very excited for the International Booker and even the Women's Prize. I read a fair amount of those books. I didn't read all of the shortlists or long lists or any of that, but I did follow and have a fair amount of things to say, and like did some reviews for some of the books. But for example, by the end of the time when we got to the Booker, the actual like English speaking Booker, I think I've read two of those books only. So yeah, I'm not that, and I didn't even I think made shortlist predictions or winner predictions or anything like that. So I think I'm out of the loop now. Like I'm happy that I'm out of the loop now. It's like when you unsubscribe to one of those WhatsApp groups that are just sending you messages and you just read them so that it's not marked as a notification in your phone. So yeah, I think that I'm getting much better at using prices to find things I want to read rather than having to read all the books from a certain price or whatever. And I have also become better at knowing which prices I actually find interesting things in and which ones I'm not so into anyway. I think the International Booker is my favorite, but there are a few of them that are also very interesting to me. And I talked about those later because there are some projects related to them. And then on the YouTube side of things, one of the things that I was going to do and I tried doing was to track my stats in Storygraph and then share them with you in the wrap-ups. And I did do that. I think I have maybe some days I didn't track the number of pages exactly, but I think most of the times I do, and then I do share them in the wrap up. I'm not sure about the sharing, how much value it adds, because I don't have that much to say about it, so maybe I will remove it. Let me know if you like that part of the video or not. But yeah, at least I have those stats for myself, and that's nice to me because I'm a nerd in that way. The next thing that I had in my want to do thing is do not only more reviews but also more thoughtful reviews of books, because I'm always very jealous when I see someone that is very good at reviewing books and like making single reviews and stuff. And I looked through my videos last year, and I have made 15 reviews of books. My goal was once a month, so I guess 15 reviews means that I succeeded on that. But if you look more closely, my last review was from September. And also, I don't know if I have succeeded on making them as thoughtful as I wanted them to be. I think the problem is that sometimes I want to review a book because I think it's interesting or people are going to be interested in that book, but actually I don't have that much to say about that book. And so I just don't have so many insights to share in a review, and then it doesn't become the best review ever. So maybe I just have to stick to the books that I actually have things to say about. Then the next YouTube goal was to have a video a week, and I think I succeeded in this most of the time. I think there was 1 or 2 weeks when I was on holidays that I messed up with the schedule and I didn't post for like 10 days or something. And then there are some times when I posted more than one video a week because there were things going on that I wanted to talk about. But most of the time, one video a week seemed doable, and I think I'm sticking with that for now because it is a good balance, I think. I think overall quite successful. However, I also felt quite a lot of pressure at points, like especially from the Read Around the World project of finishing certain books and doing certain things. And this year I want to do less of that. So I want to be more open and thoughtful on things that come up and things that I happen to want to be doing. So I don't have as many books to read in this year. I also don't think I have as much time, so it's just how things are. But yeah, I do still have some goals because that's how I am. I cannot not do goals. So the first goal, reading wise, from my Read Around the World project, I got a lot of recommendations and I have compiled those, and I share more thoughts on those in my wrap-up video. But I have collected 5 books from those recommendations that I want to read in 2024. So those are 5 books that are going to be in my TBR for the year. And those are Call Me Cassandra by Marcel Gala, A Small Place by Jamaica Kincaid, Christine Lavansdottir by Secret Onset, and then Solenoid by Mircea Cartarescu, and The Sorrow of War by Bounding, which I want to read this year. They are all, except from Solenoid, which is huge, all of the rest are not that big, so I think sounds like a reasonable thing to expect to do. So yeah, that's my first goal. And then talking about winners, I also put out a video of projects I'm not doing this year because I often get caught up in projects that I want to do, things I want to accomplish, and I talked about how I don't want to get too wrapped up in prices and stuff, but I still do like prices, and I still think that I found many interesting books on prices that I would have not found it otherwise. So there is 2 prices that I want to read all the winners of. Now that sounds like a lot, but it's not as much, because the 2 prizes that I want to read from are the International Booker and the Warwick Prize for Translated Fiction. And those 2 prizes have existed for 10-15 years, and I have followed for a majority of it, so I have read most of the books in those lists. So for the International Booker, I have only 2 authors that I need to read to complete this list, and that is back when the International Booker did authors and not books to be given a prize. So I can choose whichever book I want from those authors, basically. And the 2 authors that I want to read are Lydia Davis, and she's American, but back then Americans were not allowed in the main Booker, so they were part of the International Booker. And I have heard really good things about Lydia Davis, so I wanted to try her anyway. And my library has I think a collection of short stories called Can't and Want. We'll see how I go along with short stories, but anyway, it's worth a try, I think. And the other author that I want to read is Laszlo Krasznahorski. Butchered that. But yes, he's Hungarian. And the book that my library has that I have actually taken out before, but I didn't have time to read, is Satan Tango. So that means that I'm interested in it, right? Anyway, so those are the two books that I need to read for the completing all the winners of the International Booker. And then the other prize that I want to read everything from is the Women's Prize of Translated Fiction of Warwick Prize of Women Translated Fiction. I don't know the exact title, but you get the idea. And that one I haven't read 3 books from the winners. So this is a bit heftier of a list. The first one I haven't read is Belladonna by Dasa Drunic. Yeah, sorry for all the butchering of the names. But this one is about illness. It's about a man that is, I think, a psychologist and a writer, an intellectual basically, and he's very like up in his horses, and then he becomes ill and gives a new perspective on his life. So that sounds interesting. The other one I have here, I have wanted to read anyway because I have heard amazing things from, and that's Audible, Voices from a Swedish Village by Marit Kapla. And this is kind of like poetry like book about different random things happening in a Swedish village. Now it looks huge, but if you open it, it's actually not that imposing anymore because there's a lot of white space on it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And then the last one that I don't have yet because it's the winner from this year and it was announced a couple of months ago is Your Wish is My Command by Dina Mohamed. And as far as I understand, is magical realism in Egypt, and that sounds really good. So I'm really interested in that as well. So those are the books that I'm going to be reading for like prize reading and stuff. 5 books sounds manageable to me. And I guess I will read also the books that win in 2024. I'll probably follow and choose and pick the ones that sound interesting to me, because another thing I have realized is that even though I do find some of my favorite books through reading prizes, most of the books that end up on my favorites are the books that I was interested on when I read the descriptions. So I am confident that I am able to discern which ones I'm gonna like and which ones I'm not before I read them. So that's good to know. The last thing I wanted to do in terms of reading this year is to read my Ancient TBR. Now, this year is a bit special because I have finished all my ebooks. I don't have any more ebooks in my phone. I have been buying a few more books, and I know that for most people a goal is to not buy as many books, but I was buying maybe like 2 or 3 books a year, which meant that I read a lot of ebooks and a lot from the library and script and those kind of things, and I want to be a bit more physical with my books this year, so I have been buying a few more books. Nothing crazy, but I thought I will show you the books that I have right now. The first 2 books that I have to show you I bought in Portugal when I was there in September, and it's El Libro del Desasosiego by Fernando Pessoa and The Year of the Death of Ricardo Reis by Saramago. Now, I bought this one in Spanish. I couldn't find these ones in Spanish, so I bought this one in English. But these are basically, this one is kind of like philosophizing about life in Lisbon, and this is about a man that is friends with Fernando Pessoa and about Lisbon as well. So I thought they were very proper of the time and the place I was, and I would like to ideally read them like in close succession. I don't know if like one after the other because they are both quite dense, heavy books, as far as I understand. So I don't know if I will want to read both of them one after the other, or it will be too much. But I think I want to read this together in some way. Then the next two I found actually in little libraries around me, so they were for free. But the first one is El Reino de Azahar by Linda Belago. It's in Spanish, finally enough, but this is about, as far as I understand, historical fiction in the 19th century in Rotterdam. So interesting. It's a chunky one, but I think it's, and these kind of editions are kind of fast historical books in general, so maybe this will be a good one to put in between the other two very heavy books. I don't know, we'll see. And the other one is Welcome to Lagos by Chuhundu Onuzo, which is, I think, kind of a comedy about everyday things in Lagos. So yes, and that also sounds fun and like the kind of palate cleanser that I like. Then I have two that I bought, or my husband bought for me for my birthday. So the first one is Julia by Nino Hartishvili. I don't know much about this, but I have read The Eighth Life by the same author, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, this one is about a teenage girl in 1953 between France and like traveling around. I don't know, I'm excited for this. And the other one is The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. I have been making my slow way through many of the Shafaks that exist, and this one was the next one kind of that I saw in the shop. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. And then my friend gifted to me for my birthday as well, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Sevin. This has been everywhere in BookTube. It's about like video games makers or something like that. I was originally not super interested in this because I'm not a huge video game nerd, but she recommended it to me and she said I don't have to be. So we'll see. I'm curious about that one. And then these two books, next two books I bought in like a clearance, not clearance, but like a sale that one of my bookstores was doing for Thanksgiving. So I got two books in that for very cheap. The first one is secondhand and is The Golden Gate by Vikram Seth. I have read A Suitable Boy by him and I really enjoyed it. This one is like poems, so might be a bit more challenging. And it's his first novel, so it will be interesting to see how he has evolved. But yeah, I'm still very interested in that. And then the other one I have here is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. This was nominated for the Booker this year, and a lot of people were rooting for it. It sounds like a family saga, engaging crime-like story. I love family sagas, and everyone has a lot of good things to say about this, so I decided to get it and read it. So those are all the physical books that I have in my ancient TBR, but I also have a few books that are either on script on my library TBR that I will also include in this list. So the first one is Page Boy by Elliot Page. This is a memoir of Elliot Page transitioning from female to male. I think it's very interesting. He is very smart, as far as I know, all the interviews that I have seen him do and things like that. And I think, yeah, I have also seen good reviews of this, so I'm interested in this one. And it's on script, so whatever. The next one I am interested in that is also in script is Tiger Work by Ben Okri. It's a new book of Ben Okri, mostly essays about climate change. So that sounds right up my alley, and Ben Okri is very smart, and I'm sure he will have lots of good things to say about that. And then the next one is also in script is Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This is the winner of the Booker this year. It's funny because The Bee Sting and Prophet Song were probably the two that I was the most interested in. when I first saw the Booker list, and they are still the ones that are like the most praised, and the ones that I'm still interested in. So yeah, Prophet Song, I want to know more about it, so I want to read it. Then also on script is Marsan Mon Amour by Katja Oskamp, which is, I believe, about someone that works kind of like in a shoe store, but like sort of to get their thoughts together, a bit like Einstein when he was working on the patent office or something. And it won the W Literary Award, I think, last year, and I have been interested in it since then. And so now I saw it that it's finally in script, so I want to read it as well. The last one that I want to read from the library is The Song of Seven by Tonke Dracht. This is a children's, I think it's a classic book from the Netherlands, and yeah, it sounds fun. It's fantasy, I think, or magical realism, and it's always good to have one of those in like your mix. So that one is also on my ancient TBR. Yeah, those are all the books that are in my ancient TBR for this year. I haven't counted them, but at least like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 physical books, and I think another like 4 or 5 ebooks and stuff. So I think that's pretty doable. And yeah, those are my plans for reading, in terms of reading. And then in terms of videos, I think my plan for this year is kind of still put one video a week, but go with the flow a little bit more, not have so much plans of, like this year I had a lot of structure with the wrap-ups and the Reader on the Wall projects and the reviews and all of that, and I think I want to be a bit more creative this year. And another thing I want to be more creative with is my thumbnails. So you can probably notice by now that I don't put my face on thumbnails, and that's intentional. I don't want that to be public for some reason, even though I put my face on the internet in videos anyway, but I don't want it to be in the thumbnail. But I think that sometimes that limits a lot of what you can do, especially if you're reading digital books. I quite like when I do a review, I try to make these covers that kind of mimic thumbnails that mimic the cover and stuff, and I have a lot of fun with that, and I think that it would be interesting for me to expand that a little bit also now that I have more physical books and I can do actual photography of those books and try to come up with interesting ways to present them and stuff like that. I don't know how long this will take, and I don't know how much effort I want to put into it based on how much time I have, but it's something that I have been thinking of. I would like to at least try. And yeah, other than that, I don't really have any more plans or things. I think this year is, for me, it's going to be a year of a bit more relaxed reading and YouTubing and all of that, because last year was a little bit of pressure in some of these areas, and I don't think this should be the case because it's a hobby. So this year I'm taking it chill, and these are my plans. Let me know if you have any plans and if you have any other comments on things or on what I'm sharing now. And until next video, bye!